Welcome to our deep dive. It's all about ChatGPT. Getting the most out of it.
Yeah.
You've probably seen how Google changed everything, right?
Yeah.
Like no more, I don't know, like
Encyclopedias.
yeah, encyclopedias, all-nighters at the library, all that stuff.
Right.
ChatGPT is kind of that next step, though. Like, instead of just giving you a bunch of links,
Yeah.
it actually understands what you're asking. It pulls together information. It's from a whole bunch of places, really.
Right.
And then talks back to you like somebody who really knows what they're talking about.
Exactly. 24/7.
Yeah, it's crazy. So today, what we're focusing on is how to make ChatGPT work even better for you.
That's right. The key is asking the right questions. They're called prompts.
Prompts?
Yeah. And learning how to use them well. It's like finding the secret code to unlock this whole new world of knowledge and possibilities.
And you know what? Our deep dive today is
Yeah.
actually based on this pretty awesome guide.
Yeah.
It was originally written in Danish. Oh, wow.
Talk about some exclusive insights.
Yeah, that's great.
I felt like I was getting secret knowledge just reading this.
I love that. One of the coolest things I found in the guide is this concept of prompt chains, right?
Yeah,
Prompt chains.
Yeah. It's like having an ongoing conversation with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Each question builds on the last one. So you just get deeper and deeper into a topic.
So instead of just like shooting off random questions,
Right.
you're actually crafting this like a series of prompts
Exactly.
to get the most targeted and insightful responses.
Exactly. It's like having a super smart friend who not only knows a ton, but is also incredibly patient and is always happy to explain things in more detail.
Okay. I'm already hooked. So before we get into all the details of how to make these awesome prompts,
Yeah.
can we back up for a second? How does this thing actually work? Like, where does it get all of its information?
So ChatGPT is trained on a massive amount of text data, like from all over the internet. Think books, articles, websites, like you name it. It's probably in there somewhere.
That's both amazing and kind of scary.
Right.
But doesn't that also mean that sometimes the information could be outdated or even inaccurate?
Yeah. That's a great point. That's why critical thinking is so important.
Oh, okay.
Especially when you're using ChatGPT. You always want to kind of double check any facts or claims, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're using it for research or making important decisions. Think of it as like any other source of information. You wouldn't just blindly trust everything you read online without doing some fact checking.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right.
You gotta vet the sources. So it's kind of like a superpowered research assistant.
Exactly.
But one that maybe sometimes gets things mixed up or relies on old data.
Right.
So we need to be the editors. Make sure the information is accurate and relevant.
Exactly. Now let's get back to those prompts. Remember, we were talking about how important it is to ask the right questions, right? Well, it's not just about what you ask. It's about how you ask it. So the guide actually breaks down effective prompting into 4 key elements: role, format, context, and tone of voice.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Let's go through these one by one. So what's this whole role element all about?
Okay. Think of it this way. If you needed help, like fixing your car, right? Would you ask a random person on the street or a mechanic with years of experience?
Oh, a mechanic for sure. I want someone who really knows what they're doing.
Exactly. And with ChatGPT, you can actually tell it what role you want it to play. You could say something like, act as an experienced mechanic, or imagine you're a world-renowned chef. This helps it, tap into a specific knowledge base.
Interesting.
And then give you more targeted and insightful responses.
So you're not just asking it a question, you're actually giving it a persona to step into.
Right. Exactly.
That's so cool. So that means I could ask ChatGPT to be, I don't know, a fitness coach, a financial advisor, or even a stand-up comedian.
Absolutely. You can ask it to be anything.
Wow.
The possibilities are pretty much endless. It's like having a whole team of experts, right, at your disposal, just ready to share their knowledge and insights.
This is already blowing my mind. So we've got role covered.
Okay.
What about format?
Okay.
How does that play into crafting really effective prompts?
Okay. So format is all about how you want ChatGPT to present the information to you, right? It's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Okay.
So would you rather have a detailed report or a bulleted list, a step-by-step guide, or maybe even a creative story?
Oh, that makes sense. I'm a visual person, so I love charts, diagrams, timelines, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Can you actually tell ChatGPT to present information visually?
Absolutely. You can get super specific with ChatGPT. So for instance, if you were like asking about major events in history, you could say something like, create a timeline of the most important events of the French Revolution.
Okay.
Right. Or if you're comparing like smartphones, you could ask for like a table that highlights the key features of each model.
So it's not just about getting the information, it's about getting it in a way that actually makes sense to you.
Right, exactly. And honestly, it can make a huge difference in how well you actually understand and remember, like, what you're learning.
All right. This is all starting to click now. We've talked about giving ChatGPT a role to play and then deciding, like, the format for that information. So what's this context element all about?
Okay, so think of it like this. Imagine you're asking a friend for, like, movie recommendations, right?
Okay.
If you just say, recommend a good movie,
Yeah.
they're going to be a little lost.
They're going to be like, what kind?
Right. But if you tell them, I love, like, sci-fi movies with strong female leads and, like, a bit of humor, then they can give you something much more tailored to your taste.
Right. The more information you give them, the better the suggestion is going to be.
Exactly. And it's the same with ChatGPT. The more context you provide in your prompts, the more relevant and helpful those responses are going to be.
Okay.
Right. So instead of just asking, write a poem, you might say, write a poem about the feeling of autumn, using vivid imagery and a melancholic tone.
So you're basically like setting the scene, right? And giving ChatGPT all the background information that it needs to really understand what you're looking for.
Precisely. And here's like a little tip. I actually got this from the guide. If you're ever like unsure about how much context to give, just ask ChatGPT.
What?
Yeah. You can literally say, what information do you need for me to answer this question effectively?
Oh, that's so...
It's like having this built-in research partner that's always happy to like clarify things for you.
Okay. That's a super handy trick. I can already see how these elements are starting to like build on each other.
Yeah.
So we've covered role, format, context. What's that last one? What's tone of voice all about?
Okay. So tone of voice is all about setting like the mood and style of ChatGPT's responses, just like we adjust our own tone of voice depending on, who we're talking to or what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You can do the same with ChatGPT.
So like if I want ChatGPT to sound like, I don't know, a wise old professor, I could specify that in the prompt.
You could.
Or if I'm working with like kids,
right,
I could ask for a more like playful and engaging tone.
Exactly. And it can make a huge difference in like how you perceive and engage with the information.
Interesting.
Right. Imagine like getting a technical explanation, but in this fun conversational style.
Yeah.
Or having a historical event, recounted as a thrilling adventure story.
Oh, wow. The possibilities are truly endless.
Right.
So just to recap, the 4 elements of crafting these effective prompts are role, format, context, and tone of voice. And by mastering these elements, we can basically turn ChatGPT into like our own personalized AI assistant.
Yes.
Tailored to our own like specific needs and learning style.
That's a great summary. Now, remember those prompt chains we talked about earlier? Let's kind of explore how those work.
Yes. I'm very eager to see how these chains can take like our ChatGPT interactions to the next level. It's like, it's the difference between like having a casual chat with someone and having a deep, insightful conversation.
Exactly. So imagine you're like fascinated by the idea of time travel.
Okay.
And you want to kind of explore it further.
Right.
You could start with like a simple prompt, right? Like explain the concept of time travel.
Okay.
And based on ChatGPT's initial response, you might then ask, what are the potential paradoxes of time travel?
Interesting.
And then digging even deeper, you could ask, like, how might time travel impact our understanding of free will?
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. You're like revealing more and more complexity, like nuance with each question. And what's so cool is I'm like guiding the exploration.
You are. You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, I'm following the threads that are interesting to me.
Exactly. And with each step in the chain, right, you could actually like refine the role, the format, context, and tone of voice.
Oh, wow.
As needed. It makes it a truly dynamic and interactive learning experience.
Yeah.
It's like having a conversation with like the most knowledgeable person on the planet.
Yeah.
Who's always happy to like answer your questions, explore new ideas.
I love this idea of treating it like a conversation partner and not just like a search engine.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp of prompt chains. Now, the guide also mentioned these 6 like broad categories of prompts.
Right.
Informative, creative, instructive, analytical, learning focused, and reflective.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about these?
Yeah, so think of these categories as like different lenses you can use to like view ChatGPT's capabilities.
Okay.
They help you, focus your prompts, achieve specific outcomes, whether you're seeking, knowledge or sparking your imagination, or even reflecting on your own thoughts and experiences.
Okay. So it's like choosing the right tool for the job,
Right.
depending on what I'm trying to accomplish.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's break these down one by one, starting with informative prompts.
Okay.
What are those all about?
So informative prompts, those are all about like getting clear, concise answers to your questions.
Okay.
Right? Think of them as like your own personal encyclopedia or research assistant.
Okay.
You can use them to like learn about anything really.
Yeah.
That sparks your curiosity, from the history of ancient civilizations to the latest scientific discoveries.
So if I wanted to know, let's say, like the different theories about the extinction of the dinosaurs, I would use an informative prompt.
Exactly. You could just ask, what are the main theories explaining the extinction of the dinosaurs? And ChatGPT would like give you a summary of like the most widely accepted explanations.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
What about creative prompts? Those sound a lot more fun.
Yeah. So creative prompts, this is where you can really let your imagination run wild, right?
Yeah.
They're all about generating new ideas, stories, poems, even like artistic concepts. It's like having this brainstorming partner that can just come up with endless possibilities.
So instead of asking for like information, I'm actually asking ChatGPT to like create something new.
Exactly. You could ask it to like write a short story about a robot who dreams of becoming a painter, or generate ideas for like a unique video game set in a fantasy world.
Cool.
The only limit really is your imagination.
This is making me want to go play around with ChatGPT right now.
Okay.
So we've got informative, we've got creative. What about instructive prompts?
Okay.
Those sound pretty practical.
Yeah, so instructive prompts, those are all about learning how to do something. They're like having a step-by-step guide for like any skill or task that you want to master.
So if I wanted to learn how to like bake sourdough bread from scratch, I could use an instructive prompt.
Exactly. You could ask something like, provide a detailed guide to baking sourdough bread, including like all the steps and tips for beginners.
Okay.
And ChatGPT would walk you through that entire process, from like mixing the ingredients to achieving that perfect crust.
That's super helpful. Now, what about analytical prompts? Those sound a little bit more complex.
Yeah, so analytical prompts, they kind of tap into ChatGPT's ability to process information and draw conclusions.
Oh.
Right? They're really great for like comparing different options, understanding complex issues, and like making more informed decisions.
So if I was trying to decide between two different investment strategies,
Yeah.
I could use an analytical prompt to help me like weigh the pros and cons of each.
Exactly. You can ask ChatGPT to like analyze the potential risks and rewards of investing in stocks versus bonds. It'll give you insights and data to help you make a more informed choice.
Okay. Starting to see how powerful these different categories of prompts are.
Yeah.
What about learning focused prompts? Those sound like they'd be really helpful, especially for students.
So learning focused prompts are all about making education more personalized and engaging.
Right.
They can help you create study plans, understand those like really difficult concepts, and even like adapt learning materials to your specific learning style.
Oh, that's cool. So if I was like struggling with a particular concept in like physics, I could ask ChatGPT to explain it in a way that makes sense to me.
Exactly. You could say something like, explain the concept of quantum entanglement, but in simple terms.
Yeah.
Using like analogies and real world examples, right?
Yeah.
And ChatGPT will break that concept down into like bite-sized pieces, making them much easier to grasp.
This is making me wish I had ChatGPT back when I was in school.
I know, right?
Okay. Last but not least, we have reflective prompts.
Yes.
What are those all about?
So reflective prompts, they're all about like introspection and self-discovery.
Oh, interesting.
They encourage you to think deeply about your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences, your goals.
No, so it's like having like a personal journal or a therapist.
In a way, yes.
But like AI form.
You could use reflective prompts to like ask questions like, what are my core values? Or how can I overcome like my fear of public speaking?
Oh, interesting.
Right. ChatGPT can help you gain like a deeper understanding of yourself and work toward like personal growth.
Oh, that's really cool.
Right.
This has been such an eye-opening dive into ChatGPT. I feel like I've gone from being a like casual user to someone who can really harness like its power.
Yes.
But I know some people still have concerns about AI, in general.
Right.
What are some of the things that we should be mindful of as we like explore these new technologies?
It's important to remember that ChatGPT is like a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it has its limitations.
Yeah.
So we should always like use critical thinking skills and not blindly trust like everything it tells us.
Yeah.
We should also be aware of like the potential for bias in the information it provides.
Yeah.
Since it's trained on this massive data set, you know,
Yeah.
it reflects the biases that are already present in our world.
Right, because it's pulling from human data. So it's going to have some of those human flaws.
Exactly.
So it's all about using it responsibly and ethically, being aware of its limitations and always double checking information.
Yes.
Especially on like important topics.
Yes, absolutely. And it's also like really crucial to remember that AI should complement human intelligence and creativity, not replace it.
Yeah.
We should see tools like ChatGPT as like partners, you know, in our learning and creative endeavors, not as substitutes for our own like unique abilities and perspectives.
That's a great point. As we embrace all of these powerful new technologies, it's super important to like hold on to our humanity and use them to enhance our own capabilities.
Exactly.
Not to diminish them.
Now, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final kind of thought-provoking prompt.
Okay.
You can explore it on your own. If ChatGPT could help you achieve one, like, really ambitious goal, what would it be? Mm-hmm. And what would your initial prompt be to start that journey?
Oh, that's a really great question. And I really hope all of our listeners take some time to think about that prompt and see where ChatGPT takes them.
Yes.
And if you discover any amazing insights or you create something incredible, we'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning,
Yeah.
and keep pushing those boundaries of